Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Aegis Moto Adventures. Hey, we're off to Whitehorse today. Should be a fun day. This is our last stretch here in Canada, so to say, and that tomorrow when we head out, we'll cross the border and go to Tak. So I'm looking forward to that. So far, we've been grinding it out pretty good here on the highways, but then things slow up just a little bit for us. So we'll be on the road soon. See you then.
Saturday morning portrait.
Yep. Good morning. We're heading on to Whitehorse today, and it should be a shorter ride than we've been accustomed to.
I wanted to give you some more information about the Air Force Lodge where we stayed for the night. The barracks were built in 1942 at the original Watson Lake Airport for U.S. pilots flying between the States and Fairbanks, Alaska. Even though the barracks are the oldest structure in Watson Lake, its complete renovation has turned it into a very comfortable stay, and it's considered a heritage building. There are individual rooms, but to keep it barracks charm, there are shared restrooms and showers like a dormitory. There's a funny backstory here that occurred when female pilots arrived. You'll have to stay there to hear it from the owner himself. You'll get a chuckle. Unfortunately for us, the day is cloudy and gloomy. We ride in some rain today, but even with the overcast skies, we are riding through the most remote areas of this trip so far. Despite the challenge of filming in such a low light condition, I hope we give the viewers a glimpse of how pristine this landscape is. In this section of the Alaska Highway, there are fewer gas stations at the midway point between Watson Lake and Whitehorse. If memory serves me correctly, Swift River and Teslin are your best bet. There's a fantastic guidebook called The Milepost. This guidebook is updated yearly and is the best resource available for a trip to Alaska. Unfortunately for us, I considered it too big to carry, but I certainly used it to help us plan. If traveling by vehicle, definitely buy it. I wish they made a smaller, condensed version for bikers. As you can see, there have been several Rancheria River crossings. These tributaries empty into the Laird River and originate in the Strickyne Ranges in the Cassiar Mountains. When we reach Swift River, the Alaska Highway dips back down into British Columbia. It won't be for very long, though, before we head back north again. The highway here basically threads itself through the mountains. Reaching the Morley River means we've crossed back over into the Yukon Territory for good. We'll be here until we reach the Alaska border at the Alcan Crossing. We've finally reached some of our first sections of gravel. We won't find too much gravel here between here and Whitehorse, but once we leave Whitehorse and head west, there'll be several gravel sections on our way to the Alaska border. The Nisutlan Bay Bridge was built in 1956 and crosses the Teslin Lake. It is a 7 Warren Truss type bridge and is 1,917 feet long. This makes it the longest bridge on the Alaska Highway. We'll stop here for fuel and a little bit of a break and get off the bikes to stretch our legs before heading out on the highway again. We get lucky again with a bear cub. This one wanders out into the road where we can easily see it. This little one has somewhat of a cinnamon color, but he's still a black bear. And I'm sure Mom isn't too far away. After crossing the Teslin River at the north end of the lake, we head west towards Jake's Corner. From there, we'll head north to Whitehorse. With all the lakes, rivers, and mountains, it's hard to know where to look and film. It's all beautiful. This ride between Watson Lake and Whitehorse is one of the most scenic so far. Marsh Lake is both a lake and a small community. It lies just south of Whitehorse. Even though homes and cottages dot the shoreline, it's hard to argue how cool this place is. As part of the Yukon River corridor, prospectors traveled through the area in search of gold and riches. A couple of fun facts are 10% of the trumpeter swans stop at Marsh Lake during their migration, and the lake is the most northern lake of a 600-kilometer string of lakes that are interconnected. The Yukon River is one of the most well-known rivers in the world. It originates in British Columbia and flows through the Yukon Territory and Alaska before emptying into the Bering Sea. The Yukon is also the longest river in Canada at 1,980 miles. Reaching McRae means we're just on the outskirts of Whitehorse. We're almost there. Whitehorse is the largest city in northern Canada and serves as the provincial capital. It lies at mile marker 918 on the Alaska Highway. And with a population of about 32,000 people, this city stands alone in the Great White North. Its milder climate and historical location help explain its high population density, even though it lies in a remote wilderness. How cool is that, huh? It's our last evening with Gord. He's been a great guide for us. Tomorrow we take off on our own for Alaska. But we're going to head down to the bar and restaurant here at the hotel and have a little fun. Why don't you join us?
Well, we've hit the hotel bar here for our dinner. Tonight's the last night we're all together. Gord's going to split off and not go with us to Alaska. He doesn't want to burn up his time in the U.S. since he's Canadian, understandably so. But anyhow, we're just going to enjoy dinner here this evening, and tomorrow he's going to ride part way with us, and then we'll head on in to Alaska. Yoo-hoo!
The Last Supper.
On the wire here? Well, good evening to everybody. It's the last day of a very, to be blunt, enjoyable ride. And if I was to be asked by anybody to say, what is the highlight of this? I dare say it's probably the friendship I've been able to enjoy with everybody around the table here. However, if you think more motorcycle-related stuff, I honestly think that the run from Fort Nelson up to Watson Lake, about a third of that trip was probably the most spectacular terrain I've ever encountered. So, 2 thumbs up for that, and 2 thumbs up for the beer I've been able to consume along the way. Thank you.
Short. It was a great trip. I'm enjoying it, and all the company with the other 3 people. That's it.
Okay, my favorite part of the trip so far is the little bear. The little bear we just saw on the road today. Roy gave us notice that we were going to see it. Him and Gord were riding ahead, and it was so cute. So I enjoyed that. Honestly, the road has just been beautiful. So I really enjoy the mountain, and I keep watching to see moose.
Because that came from...
Here's the beer Mike and I split. I thought the coaster was funny. Gord got one too.
Who's funny now?
Exactly. And Roy's mesmerized by the TV.
Schooner.
Totally cool.
Well, that's it for today. Boy, we had a fun time at the bar. Unbeknownst to us, a large group came in, and apparently it's a big symphony wind group that came in that's doing a concert here in Whitehorse. So that's kind of cool. They seemed like they were really a nice group of people, but they were really getting loud there. They turned the music on in the bar, and boy, it got noisy. So it's getting kind of hard to hear yourself think a little bit. But it was a fun day, and tomorrow we'll be taking off for Tok, Alaska. Gord's going to ride with us as far as Haines City, and then he's going to turn around and head back home, probably retracing most of the steps we've already taken. So we'll see you tomorrow. Take care.